that is the logic. And they are really liking this Tahm Kench, because Tahm Kench was king in the last series they lost. So maybe if this is the logic that they're using, and it's working out, that just has to be the logic that they come forward with, is whatever was first picked the last series that they lose, they have to prioritize.
I mean, I don't mind it. SouthWind looked good on the top Kench. It certainly worked out last game, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. FPX go with the Jinx though to start this draft off for themselves. Could look towards something like the Hecarim that is available once again, but deciding the Thresh is more valuable.
Yeah, with the Thresh on the table, I think that was a bit of a gambit that they took here. I also don't think the Hecarim into the Tahm Kench is as high value. So I think that that's a bit of the logic that they're coming in with. Overall, though, one thing to note is TT did have the Jinx in the last game. Coming with the Aphelios this time instead gives FPX an option to play a much longer range composition, which is more what they've been playing, what they've had success with. So going for Jinx Corki, the deadly duo. Corki, of course, being banned, but you can go for something like the Victor. Interested in that kind of angle. I think that they'll have a lot more use, or do a lot better with that with Aphelios picked blind like that. Or not blind, but Aphelios picked early on in the draft.
That's well, but we'll see. The Ryze locked in for Ucal in the mid lane. A little less aggressive than this Silas, but this has been a comfort pick for both of the mid laners, right? It's all about getting out of that mid lane. This style has certainly worked. Gori hovering the Azir for a second there. I'd love to see it. That was one of the picks that Gori looked really good on in one of the previous series. It's not something that's been particularly meta in this situation.
Oh no, don't do it.
I like it. It's hovering the Galio, and it's going to be locked in.
There's definitely a fascination in LPL currently of picking the Galio into the Ryze. I'm not the biggest fan of it, because I think if you just look at the math on the Galio magic damage shield, you're still going to get a lot out of Ryze being able to do sustained damage with the Q and the E. So Ryze overall wins the trades, also outranges the Galio. Not the biggest fan overall, but what it does bring to the table is it matches the roams. And this is more the style of matchup that we expected going into this, is that both of the mid laners would go for these global type mids and look to make things happen inside lanes.
Be the goal. The Diana getting banned away here by FPX, and I kind of respect that decision, honestly.
A little bit
after what
traumatized,
Cheetah did to them last game, yeah. I think Clid not wanting to go for that matchup, but the Viego, respect that. We could just have 4 jungle bans here. This might just be whittling down that jungle pool until we have a completely different style of game.
I definitely could see that happening. You still have the Volibear on the table, but most of the priority jungle picks are still up, right? The Xin Zhao, the Lee Sin, and it feels weird because teams have slowly walked into this kind of Hecarim gear meta, that all of those picks, those premier 12.2 picks, are still on the table. Rek'Sai obviously getting a little bit, enjoying a bit more play in the LPL these past days. Have liked seeing it pop up, but banned and taken off the table here.
Yeah, I want a Chieftain specialties as well, so a bit of a respect ban towards Chieftain. Both teams taking a long time on their bans, considering the options, but the Graves gone. xiaolaohu, to be fair to him, had a pretty good game on the Graves. He was sort of the one shining light for the team, but Clid goes for this Lee Sin. It's a prolific pick here in the LPL, but it's something Clid has played way back over in the LCK as well, so a comfort for him. Renekton here for new, which he had a great job on. The last game, we talked about Sejuani in the creative drafts before this one started for last year from TT.
Sejuani is a throwback comfort pick for TT. They no longer have Xiaopeng on the roster, but Renekton and Sejuani, a comfortable combination to come through for this team. Will definitely give me vibes of the old TT. On the other side, though, we have the Galio, right? So Galio into Renekton, into Ryze, into this very heavy melee draft feels a lot worse, right? Because Renekton's just going to shred you in the front line. Gnar, I also think, in this matchup, isn't necessarily the best option. Renekton can definitely trade HP and win this matchup pretty comfortably. But I'll see what xiaolaohu can do with the Gnar pick. If he's not diveable early on in the game, then maybe he can survive it and have a huge impact in these team fights. Create a lot of space for the Jinx to free hit and then outrange the team composition of TT. So that's really the goal here. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want to allow them to succeed. Meanwhile, Thunder Talk, once again, a draft with a ton of agency. Ryze going to get prio in the mid lane. Sejuani Renekton combination, classic, tried and true. And then if the Tahm Kench Abyssal Voyage, creating opportunities for a lot of these engages.
Yeah, being able to set it up so that you can get underneath the enemy. And to be fair to him as well, we saw the 2-man knockup in the 2v2 down in bottom lane at the start of the last game. So SouthWind certainly very comfortable on this Tahm Kench, but we'll see how Gori and Clid are going to do, because to me, that was the big difference in the last game, right? Ucal and Chieftain versus Gori and Clid. This time around, Gori on this Galio and Clid on a Lee Sin. It feels like Gori is here playing support for Clid to be the carry in the early game. My eyes are looking at that Korean jungler Clid on the Lee Sin. He's in an aggressive matchup. Let's see if the mid jungle can go much more in favor of FPX this time around.
That is historically Clid's signature pick, the Lee Sin. It's what he has almost all of his highlight plays on. If you look at any Clid highlight reel, Google it on the YouTubes. Of course, I don't know how many people Google on the YouTubes, but you can do it.
The most boomer way possible of saying that sentence.
Exactly. I'm showing my age on the broadcast here. But Clid, very well known for the Lee Sin, likes making these more aggressive plays. And typically would expect to see the Lee Sin be more proactive than the Sejuani. Even though Sejuani can through camp gank Renekton top, it is a demonstrable possibility. Much less likely than seeing a Lee Sin look for a dive early on.
Yeah, and I want to lend credence to what you're saying there about, you know, Clid's prolific history on the Lee Sin, just to give a number to that. So his second most played champion is Jarvan. He's played that 50 times. Lee Sin, he's played 108. He has more than double Lee Sin games of any other champion in his professional career, and a 60% win rate over 108 games. That's pretty impressive, generally speaking. So Clid, very good Lee Sin. He's in good company here in the LPL, so excited to see how he's going to perform here today. And once again, Gori, a much more supportive role here for game number 2. We'll see if that's going to work out for them, because Ucal had a hell of a good game in the mid lane, game number 1.
We also saw the first blood rates pop up briefly. 46% for Clid Lee Sin compared to the 18% for our Sejuani Chieftain. Not quite the same number there.
Yeah, not quite the same. These things are not necessarily even, are they? But it is what it is. It is what it is. We'll see how this Sejuani is going to work. I'm keeping my eyes on Chieftain. Starting on the bottom side of the map. Got his red buff already. Now onto his chickens. And we'll be spotted on that ward. So for now, FPX have full information. But it's the same story for the other side. So Chieftain knows where Clid is as well. By the looks of things, Chieftain not interested in a full clear here. Moving straight up to the top side.
And we see lanes more or less going as expected. Basically, New willing to trade HP to get the priority on the wave. And in the mid lane, Ucal starting out with the classic auto snare. Although, great on the melee champion, doing a fair amount of damage to Gori. Oh, xiaolaohu getting a bit aggressive in the Gnar.
Understandably so as well. That is your opportunity to use those stats. Is nice little trade from New, but slice and dice on cooldown as Clid moves in. But Chieftain is here to save the day once again. And Clid actually being bullied out in this one. New not going to pull the trigger. I wasn't sure if he was going to go for like some kind of flash W or something, but Clid will walk away with his life. Chieftain, though, early on in this game, doing a good job on the Sejuani to read what Clid was trying to do.
And both of these junglers reading obvious plays in the early game once again. Chieftain this time coming in with the counter gank compared to Clid in the previous game, but you see the Renekton playing really aggressively, trading HP, not quite getting the wave in, and that's a big sign for the Lee Sin to jump in, but it's gonna happen for the Renekton here.
Yeah, xiaolaohu in mini Gnar. You don't get to do anything in that kind of dive. Two big beefy boys under the tower.
And that first blood rate going up on my screen as we speak.
Yeah, the 18%, not so bad anymore. As Ucal now trading against Gori in the mid lane as well. Not going to go any further. You know, after game number 1, the second I see Ucal walk forward slightly, I'm thinking it's going to be a solo kill.
And as I said, it does happen that you can have a 3-camp gank, but Clid not satisfied with Nani.
Yeah, SouthWind in trouble on the bottom side. That's a good play, but SouthWind underneath the tower still goes down. Lwx gets one more auto in. Hung will survive as Puff tries to get some return damage out, but can't quite make it happen. Nice play from FPX to answer what happened on the top side.
Clid gonna look for a redive here potentially as the cannon whip comes in.
Puff, you've got to play this perfectly. Gravitum in place right now. Who's going to tank the tower is the question. Clid is the one, and he jumps out to safety with that safeguard. Very nicely done by FPX.
I think even if Puff played that perfectly, the cards were definitely not on his side. Pretty straightforward, getting that wave in and securing. Doesn't even bother to burn summoners. Wants to keep those for the lane phase.
Very nicely done indeed. Both bottom laners of TT end up falling in the exchange. And it means that there's a little bit more pressure on this top side from TT. Chieftain and Nuke getting that early dive, getting themselves an advantage on the top half of the map. But it's been more than counted, and it is FPX now with the gold lead. And I'm looking towards these two Korean mid laners, the budget telecom war once again, on who can get out onto this map quickest, because they're both going to be hitting level 6, I believe, on the next wave. That'll be the opportunity to start to try and influence these side lanes.
And both the supports kind of leaning a bit mid here, knowing that this is their time to shine, to secure priority for their respective mid laners. But looks like TT are going to err on the side of getting the wave in, instead of moving in for that skirmish.
Indeed, trying to just crash that wave. It's a decent job in this top lane so far. The Gnar matchup against Renekton can be a bit of a challenge when Gnar's getting all of those autos in, getting the harass down. But Nu doing a good job to stay even on the top side for now. Obviously, the kill helping. The fact that he's already got his ninja tabbies, definitely going to be a boon for him. Up on the top side, but you can see Chieftain and SouthWind returning to their jungle. A million pings coming out from FPX on the bottom side of the map. Drake up. Neither team willing to force the issue just yet.
And Thundertalk moving up mid to make sure that Ucal will get the wave in first. Just guaranteeing that there's not going to be a level 6 Galio play on that particular wave. Then map state returns to normal.
Certainly does. So Chieftain will be able to get this top Scuttle Crab and continues a relatively impressive performance so far on this Sejuani. But one of the things about that Sejuani is you feel like you do need to see him being proactive. I wasn't sure if the crab was going to go down there. I thought it might just not quite go down to the burn, but Clid getting chased down. And Chieftain is not afraid to be aggressive on the pig lady. Ucal moving over as well. Realm Warp is available if they want to chase this one further as Nu moves over too. Clid has vision of the situation, but has to back away for himself. Chieftain not level 6 just yet. Nu is, so Dominus would be up if they want the scrap. 50 seconds until the Herald comes onto the map as well. And I feel like the tension is building here, Kelsey. I feel like we're leading towards a fight eventually. TT are itchy.
Yeah, and I think that they could have taken that fight there. Like you said, Renekton having the level 6. Sejuani with Renekton would have probably been able to do quite a bit, but rushing into the ranged Gnar, also taking into account Galio being able to get the wave and follow up. Not the most guaranteed, and you want to save some of your time, make sure that you're getting your recalls in and setting up for the Rift Herald that's going to be prime contest coming up here as it spawns in April.
Certainly will be. Herald onto the map here, and you can see the resets from the bottom lane of TT. And we'll take a look at our mini-map, see if they're going to move up towards that top side of the map, or if they're going to commit to the bottom lane once more, because that will be the decision maker. But Clid starts this Herald off. Looks like Puff will return to the bottom lane. Lwx still down there currently. We're not going to see a full fight for the Herald. To be honest, I'm not sure if we're going to see any contest on the Herald whatsoever.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen, despite the fact that Ucal got back out on the map well in advance, and the Renekton is pretty strong, just compared to the Gnar. Not overwhelmingly strong, but definitely something could have happened there if TT wanted it to. Instead, they're just going to calmly keep playing. One thing to note is that TT, once again, will have advantage in side lanes. with Ryze getting to a point where he can pressure and push out the map. So I think that that's something that maybe they have in mind when they're playing this one a bit more conservatively.
Definitely a slow and steady game out from TT so far, as an attempt on the bottom side towards Lwx. Hung, drop a ward over, spots what's going on here. SouthWind will be able to clear the waterway here by TT to at least maintain control of vision, sorry, as the Drake will be started off. This will be the first Drake of the game. 9 minutes, quite a late way to start this one off, but Cleared is here, and immediately the engage onto Gori. SouthWind over the wall as well, with Dark Passage from Gori to get himself out to safety. Not going to commit any further, but that was a big ult out from Chieftain, and suddenly it doesn't feel as impressive from TT to be able to start this Drake.
And I think they started the Drake more to just see if they could get a pick off, get the stun on an unsuspecting target and take him down. Not quite panning out. Good lantern from Hung to keep the game relatively even.
And this is what you expect on Hung's Thresh as well. He has been a pretty prolific Thresh player. FPX with a minor gold lead so far, and a lot of that in the pocket of LPX, right? When you look at the difference between these AD carries right now, the 2 kills that he got, he's got a tower plate as well. It's 1,000 gold on him. You can see it with a cull stacking too. That's one of the biggest things, is that LPX already with a gold lead and a cull going his way, makes it very difficult for Puff. Puff is not going to exist in this game for a long time comparatively to Lwx. Jinx is one of these champions that when she starts to get a lead, it's very difficult to stop her snowballing. It's very difficult to get into that backline, and realistically, not that much of a way to shut Lwx down unless they can get that knock up from SouthWind. Well done, sir. Puff whiffs the Moonlight Vigil, though. Oh, it's a disaster from TT.
Yeah, as you were saying right before that engage, or that disaster, as you called it, Jinx is pretty much the winning condition for FPX here. There's not a lot of easy ways to get on top of her, especially with the Thresh. She outranges their entire composition more or less, so you're looking at Renekton to save the flash as they get into these team fights and kind of be the hero in that case, getting a really proper flank angle, getting on top of her. Here we go. Moonlight Vigil missing. Nice flash from Hung. I mean, so at least
if you just
have that going for it.
If you just autoed 2 more times instead of pressing R, it's just a kill.
Yeah, probably.
Unfortunately, that is not what occurred. We don't get to see that kill, and we don't get to see Lwx shut down, because that would have been bounty gold as well. Lwx is a 200 gold bounty right now. Now finish the Kraken Slayer, though. Not going for the Gale Force that we so often see on the Jinx these days. Going for pure damage here. SouthWind rejoins in the bottom side, but another turret plate taken by Lwx, who is just sitting pretty in this bottom lane. They're going to move over with the Rift Herald as well. They are just determined to funnel every single bit of gold that they have into Lwx. The cull now procced as well. Lwx is skyrocketing into the lead down in this bottom side. Not going to go for the dive here with Chieftain in the wings, but man, 2,000 gold lead individually between the AD carries. That is monstrous.
It's not the most comfortable. This composition is almost entirely set up for Lwx to be the hero, with xiaolaohu acting as the front line, Gori creating space with Taunt. So seeing Lwx have this big of an advantage is just very difficult for Thunder Talk. Their best option is to try to use Ryze to get priority inside, set up neutral objectives in advance, see if you can get Jinx to walk in and nullify that range advantage with Renekton in place to flash on top of her. Anything that can happen like that, just CC her to death, but considering she has the threshold positioning, considering she will have such a beefy front line, a lot of options for FPX in this game. Things not looking as favorable or as one-sided for our Thunder Talk overlords going into this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Thunder Talk have up their sleeves. It's certainly not over. They're about 2,000 gold down at this point in the game. But Hung tries to make the play onto Nu. He'll be able to slice out of that one. But Herald coming up shortly. Just over a minute until that one is onto the board. And FPX, so far, every single neutral objective has gone their way. It's a great little pair of Qs onto Nu. It's a nice little rhyme as well. A little bit of a bonus for FPX. LWX with 10 seconds to spare will get one plate. Not going to stick around for the second. I think he maybe could have got a second one there, but we'll decide to back away and play it safe.
We're not seeing the Sejuani. Right, the Renekton could still be in position.
LWX actually stopping News recall there with the rocket to deny a lot of the minions on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and he will lose a full wave for that one, rotating back over. But,
Ucal's been found, but here comes Chieftain to try and save the day. And xiaolaohu gets hit by the Glacial Prison. So we'll just end up with nothing happening in the end. But FPX consistently bullying out in these situations. Back onto the Herald once more. And Drake coming up in 40 seconds as well. It feels like FPX, they could go for this Herald and then just mosey on down to the bottom side, take the Drake as well. Just take every single objective that they want.
And it seems like this would be a situation that would be very comfortable for FPX to take this Ripped Herald, get the recall in, drop it since they'll be a bit behind on the play, getting to the Dragon. Then they can set that up if they want, or they can just save it, keep rotating around the Jinx, make sure she gets the T1 in the top lane, see if you can drop it on mid to knock the mid down. Oh, Chieftain.
Speaking of the Jinx, LWX might be caught here. Chieftain trying to make the play on the top side as Puff comes in. And it will be Chieftain to pick up the kill. Would have loved to see that go onto the Aphelios, but importantly, LWX walked away. Hung right now, he's playing Protect the President, right? He's happy to sacrifice himself if it means that LWX gets away with that bounty in tow. Gori stunned on the bottom side though, is FPX trying to start this Drake off, and New doesn't want it to happen, but New doesn't have a choice because the rest of his team not even on the right side of the map.
And then in a way, TT not too concerned with the second dragon. LWX is definitely the most important objective for them to secure if they can. Not quite working out yet, but getting a nice T1 for that. I'd almost always rather have the T1 gold onto the Aphelios compared to the second dragon, so I think TT are going to be quite happy with that one.
Yeah, definitely, and kind of interesting to see TT prioritizing the T1 when Ucal was on KT, not T1. So, you know, a little bit of a change of colors here for Ucal on the top side, but yeah, nice little pick onto Hung. Good effort on stopping. If they could have got the kill on LWX, it would have been nice, but even still, it's going to be a pickup that they're more than happy to go for. And Puff looking straight towards the late game, right? None of this collector nonsense, going straight towards LDR as his second item here on the affiliate.
Yeah, and there is going to be quite a bunch of tanky champions on the opposing team, so going for the Gale Force into the LDR is a lot more comfortable than going, for example, Kraken Slayer into LDR, so it's very nice itemization coming out for Puff to be able to deal with the BP FPX front line.
Certainly will be, but the question remains on how far ahead FPX will be later on into the game. But the gold lead that they had somewhat stymied a little bit here, as it's only 1,000 gold. They were 2,000 gold ahead before. xiaolaohu should be able to finish this tower, or perhaps not. As New arrives at the last second, will mean that TT are keeping things relatively even. With Clid having that Herald in pocket, you'd expect at least one more tower to go down in favor of FPX shortly. That should regain them the lead that they had before. Maybe not up for another 3 minutes, but FPX has been positioning very aggressively, trying to grab this tower for themselves. The Herald will get the charge. They haven't finished the tower just yet. That Kraken Slayer Jinx is wailing on Chieftain. Difficult to defend from the side of TT.
And despite the fact that Ryze will have a lot of that lane priority, Jinx at this point just shreds towers. They managed to get the gold there. They're going to keep mid prio in general. Renekton's not doing so hot in his respective side lane matchup either. So at that point, you're basically just Ryze against the world, trying to get early waves, kind of cheat them, look for a flank angle perhaps behind the Jinx on mid wave to see if you can help Puff contest while Galio's on the side, but you only have very brief time to do that since Galio just has to clear away pretty quickly and can join with that ultimate. I always get the Galio and the Rakan ultimate names confused, so I'm just not going to say it.
And heroic entrance. Just think about it as Rakan is very sort of show-offy and flamboyant, right? That's the grand entrance. Galio is the hero of Demacia, so it's the hero's entrance. That's the hero. Oh, that's the way I remember it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly are remembering it better than I am, so I'm open to any suggestions at this point.
It is. Not many people have to remember these things. There's an attempted engage from Chieftain once again. Not going to work out in Chieftain. While his scoreline looks good, not really having that much impact on the Sejuani so far. We're hoping for a little bit more out of him in a game. Kind of close to level 11. He does have the chem tank, but FPX are doing a really good job of respecting what he can do in the Sejuani and avoiding him at all costs.
Very true. Jinx, again, going to collect this mid wave for free. I feel like we're waiting a bit to get into the Dragon and set it up, and honestly, FPX's timings for this Drake are very nice. They're pushing in this wave so that it should crash around like the 45 to 50 minute mark. Ryze forced to answer, Ryze being one of the scariest members of Thunder Talk right now. And that just allows FPX to get priority on this Dragon first before it spawns.
Does FPX in control of the bottom side, as you say, having that priority to be able to saw xiaolaohu who forced to flash out the back of Baron Pit. Not entirely sure how he's ended up caught there and having already used his hop as well, but Chieftain, his ult might be available by the time that Drake comes up. 20 seconds and you can see it just ticking away on the left of your screen there. It'll be up hopefully soon. 2,000 is the gold lead for FPX. Certainly not insurmountable for the side of TT, who are trying to contest into this river. What has to go right here? How do TT win this fight if they're able to find an engage?
And I did kind of like Chieftain's response to the Gnar hover, right? Just going in, trying to force the flash, force him out, and then they could have just kind of rotated and engaged on the midsection. So a little bit of hesitation there, but understandable when you have a Thresh.
And Nude goes into the back of the pit there, but not going to commit to this one. Just taken down by FPX. And it feels like TT wanted to stop that. It feels like they, everyone moved over on the map. Everyone came here to try and contest, but not finding a way in. A great hook as well out from Hung, right? Stopping Chieftain being able to advance.
Yeah, and they could have also just completely gone in before the Gnar. They knew exactly where he was. Could have been 5 men on mid, the way that we often like to do here in the LPL. Okay. Should be able to get out on that one. Yeah. Yeah,
so toughy so far for the side of TT. They are now getting towards 3,000 go down, but 3 Drakes importantly as well. And the Ocean Soul, very valuable, but here we go. Ucal, time to make a play around the map. xiaolaohu has no flash available. There's the Rune Prism. The Everfrost comes on through. Where on earth is New? New man, why are you farming the wave right now? I feel like that was a guaranteed play.
I don't know. It's not my problem. Ryze can kill Gnar, right? That's how it works. Solo.
Yeah. Well, living up to his name at least, because he's certainly playing like a new player.
Wow. Okay, but we do have. Oh, okay.
SouthWind's in trouble on the bottom side. Shield comes out. Here we go. Puff getting some damage on in. Galio about to arrive on the play. Cleaning things up on the backside though, and down goes Puff. Suddenly everything going the way of FPX once more, and Lwx with huge damage on this Jinx, just cleaning house. Baron being pinged, and FPX back in control of the game.
And Jinx with full vision of that melee team composition from Thunder Talk means that very difficult to get on top of her. Exactly what we saw there. Narrow way to approach her. No one was behind her in that situation. Just 3 hits the front line, and both Puff and SouthWind going down.
And they are, and that will be Baron for FPX. Very nicely done here from the Phoenix squad. And on a 3-loss streak, currently 1-0 down against TT as well. This feels good to see FPX playing a controlled game here against TT, knowing their win conditions. And great pick on SouthWind here, but it looked bad to start things off, but with Galio coming in, they managed to make it work.
Yeah, and I think every day of the week, Hong is happy to die there. Right? Manages to intercept the Sejuani ultimates, manages to take a lot of the damage while Jinx just free hits the Thunder Talk. And right now, I feel like FPX, much like the Phoenix, they're finding their resurrection a bit in this series. It's very important, as you mentioned, for them to win because TT, right now, they're kind of in a position where their objective probably still trying to eke out a way to playoffs, but also just a scary team in the sense that they can play spoiler, right? A scary team in the sense that they can ruin dreams for a team like FPX.
Yeah, but FPX certainly not looking like they're going to have their dreams ruined right now as they are playing real aggressive towards this bottom side. They want to go for a dive. Good little hook over the wall. Pong, and he goes underneath the tower. Tower about to fall. LWX getting excited here as they charge on forwards, but they need to be a little cautious. LWX on a dark passage and does get out to safety. No one on the road wall, but new in the back line. Maybe this is the chance as Ucal gets onto LWX, turns golden, but nobody can follow up. LWX survives, and now the resets come on in. It's one apiece for all of the FPX members as Puff and SouthWind are left wondering what went wrong. Oh wait, Puff goes in, but he can't get the kill. Good effort, mate, but it doesn't work out. And I think that might actually be game with those two dropping.
This is the end of the game.
Yeah, they're fire behind him.
FPX making a huge statement here, going for the close, tying up the series, and definitely saying, you know, you said that we're an aggressive team in the intro, SouthWind. We're bringing it back, bringing the aggression back to you. Wow, holy, my God, I can talk.
Yeah.
Bringing the aggression back to you to close out the second game.
Beautiful stuff here from FPX as they push us to 3 games to that first series of the day. And TT being shown that they can't just draft these aggressive comps for free. They will be answered throughout the series. So FPX doing a good job of coming back from that loss in game number 1 as well, because I think the first game was such a